Well, hello everyone. Nice to have you join me again. As you probably have noticed, it's been a while since I've posted anything. And the reason for that is because, well, okay, I work in, I think I may have mentioned before, I work in film and television production. And was extremely busy the last few months working on something, which was a real pain in the ass because it ended up being 3 weeks longer than it should have been. I don't mind because, well, it's paid. And I just got back only about a week ago from, well, I'll show you a picture. Yes, that is I'm not going to say a winter coat, but it was very cold and rainy where I was at. It was somewhere in the southern hemisphere. If you know where, let me know in the comments section below. Anyway, there's actually something that I want to talk about today, and that's about manufacturing. A lot of people will agree that manufacturing, and this goes for cars as well, not just motorcycles, but vehicles, including trucks, I'll put in that category as well, manufactured in Japan have a reputation for being more reliable. I would have to agree, for the most part, more than the most part, this is actually true. And there's a few reasons for that. In Japan, not just with vehicles, but practically everything, the way companies think is very different from how companies in Europe or in the Americas think, meaning the Americas meaning the United States and Canada. So, whereas most companies in Europe and Canada and the US, I'll also include Australia in that, always think maybe 5 years ahead. In Japan, companies, let's say like Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki, Toyota, Subaru, are not just thinking 5 years in advance, but sometimes 20, 25 years in advance. So this is the reason why their vehicles have become increasingly more reliable over the last 60, 70 years. I can give you a good example. Now, many people will know the Toyota Corolla. The Toyota Corolla, which has been around for a very, very long time now. The first generation that they were exporting did have issues. They were rust buckets. Essentially, a little bit of rain or a little bit of salt on the road, depending on where you were, they would rust like crazy. And eventually, over time, they fixed that. With motorcycles, it's pretty much the same thing. So instead of, let's say, just stopping or discontinuing a bike that has issues, the way the Japanese think is, okay, well, let's look at those issues and improve on them and make them better. And sometimes it's not just issues, sometimes maybe it's they want to update it, right? For example, the bike that I took out today, which is the one that I use the most, the Honda CB1000R Black Edition. The engine is a Fireblade engine, which has been around for quite a while now. It was a racing engine. So you could say it's actually a very old design. But when they decided to put that engine on street bikes, namely this one, and I believe another one as well, they decided, of course, to, well, improve on it and to make it better for the street. So that's actually part of the philosophy as well. Also, the way employees in Japanese companies like Honda, for example, will think is they take a lot of pride in what they're doing. Now, I'm not saying that people, let's say, at Harley Davidson or BMW, Ducati don't have pride in what they're doing, but it's very different. It's very, very different indeed. Now, a few years ago, I just heard a bike show up. I could be mistaken. Actually, this is a cafe I've been to before. I shot videos here before. I'm the first customer. But There's something else, of course, that Japanese manufacturers of vehicles do. Also goes for cars, like I said. Whereas, let's say BMW. Now, BMWs have a tendency to not be reliable as they age. It's because, of course, if you're going to buy a BMW, you're going to ride it hard. But if you follow the guidelines that are set out by BMW, do the regular service intervals when you should, and not, let's say, push it beyond its actual limits, a BMW can actually last for a really long time and be extremely reliable. Whereas if you take, let's say, Honda or Toyota, you see, the Germans will think, well, let me elaborate on what I just said. So the Germans are going to think, these are the rules that we put in place, everybody will follow the rules. That's a very German thing. Whereas Toyota and Honda will think, we have the rules for this vehicle, but we're going to make it right to the rules because we know what people are like. So they're kind of thinking ahead. Companies, let's say like Honda, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Toyota, they're always thinking about how to make their products better and how to improve their products. So that's why, for example, you'll hear the thing, BMW is the driver's car. Mind you, I have to say that there are some Toyotas and some Lexus models, which is also a Toyota company, that are also driver cars. Same with motorbikes as well. So, manufacturing, yeah, it is a very interesting subject. Now, do I think that manufacturers in the West would ever be able to reach the level of, let's say, manufacturers in Japan? I seriously doubt it. And it just has to do with, again, the philosophy in manufacturing. Not that long ago, somebody asked me a question, because everybody's familiar, of course, with Toyota, and they asked me, did Toyota ever make motorcycles? Yeah, they did, actually, a very short period of time. They're very rare, even in Japan. There are still a few that are on the road. And it got me thinking, what would have happened if Toyota, like Honda, decided to also make motorcycles? Would they be reliable? I would have to probably say yes. They are going to be Japanese made. Now, let's talk about another aspect of manufacturing. There are companies, let's say like Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and others, that will manufacture in other countries. And that's done for a number of reasons. Predominantly because of cost, and so they don't have to pay, so consumers wouldn't have to pay tax or duties. If we take Mercedes-Benz, for example, I could spot immediately, they could be the same model, one made in Germany, the other made in the United States. Side by side, I can tell the difference immediately, just by looking at certain things about the car. The German one will definitely have a finer finish and will have more finer details than the version made in the United States. Same goes for Volkswagen. Ones that are made in Mexico, I don't think I have to say anything more about that. So location also does have a lot to do with it. But manufacturing is an interesting thing. Like I said, the Japanese manufacturers, companies like BMW and Ducati, I think could, or Triumph for that matter, could probably learn a lot from the way the Japanese handle manufacturing. But I'd like to find out your comments on this. Leave them in the comments section below. And like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you soon.